Thank you very much for your time. I'm sure the whole country is on tenterhooks. We'll be chatting to you very shortly. Right now, I'm going to go straight to Govan Whittles in Pretoria. Govan, can you tell us who is... Oh, we have lost audio with Govan Whittles again. We do apologise while we attempt to get that back on track so we can get the latest from him. Mia, what are we expecting to hear from the cabinet briefing? I know that sounds very speculative, but there are a number of things that South Africans at large are calling for urgently, one of them being an immediate travel ban. That seems to be the most logical next step to safeguard South Africans. What are the things that you're looking out for that South Africans may not be aware of?
So yes, certainly a travel ban is, it is one of the things that we expect to come out, but it would depend on what type of travel ban, right? Is it only from hotspot countries? What would happen if it's a citizen that comes in? Would they be allowed in and then just have compulsory quarantine? And also what will happen to local travel? I think what we need from the cabinet meeting is very, very specific information so that it tells us what type of travel bans and also what will happen to public events. We know that there's been a lot of talk about religious events being cancelled, and there's a lot of impact for Easter that's coming, which is traditionally, in addition to Christmas, the two times that South Africans travel. I think in the public health world, from public health officials, there has been a lot of pressure for these moves, but also additional things, as you have mentioned. On social media, there is a wide petition circulating from a group called the Public Health Action Team. It was started by 42 public health officials, and overnight it gained 5,000 signatures. And they are asking for the closing of schools and of other learning places. They also ask that people work from home and that travel is restricted, but also very importantly that testing is increased, that more people qualify for testing. Something that we've seen in South Korea is that as a rapid expansion of testing resulted in the epidemic increasing at a much slower rate, for instance, than a country as Italy. And just to give you a sort of like an idea of how fast this can spread if you don't act, on the 21st of February, Italy had 24 infections. They now have close to 18,000. And a country like South Korea has significantly fewer because they acted a little bit earlier. And I think in South Africa, it's very, very hard to implement something like social distancing because it's really impossible to do it on public transport. And I think that is why these public health officials are pushing for people to work from home. But we also know we live in a country where the majority of people have jobs where they can't stay away, they can't do them from home. So what will happen with their salaries? What will happen to their sick leave? COSATU has pushed for sick leave to be relaxed, to the regulations around it, and there's also a push from some public health officials for Treasury to look at funds to fill in when people can't go to work.
Right, so a lot of urgency required, a lot of measures that need to be considered.